Our second Legislator of the Year award, and I'd like to ask Senator Petersen to make his way up, along with Lieutenant Colonel J.J. Snyder, and our president is still here. When the Board of Directors considered legislators to vote on, we didn't have to look very far in the Senate to find a legislator that just happens to be with some of our issues when we are in a critical position. And let me just tell you a little bit about Chap. When he was educated at college, Williams College and the University of Virginia, he too is an attorney, and I understand a very good one. Somebody told me today, if you ever get in trouble, call Chap. So I hope I never have to call him. He was elected to the Senate in 2007, and he holds a lot of committee appointments, but particularly what we're interested in is the Finance and Appropriations Committee, and he serves as chairman of General Government, which is our budget, and he serves on Judiciary. And it is on Judiciary this year, and really, you know, when they took up a bill, and the reason we thought about Chap, you don't ever have to, I never have to lobby Chap about anything because it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, Chap is going to do exactly what Chap wants to do. It doesn't matter what a caucus votes. It doesn't matter what politicians tell him. He's going to do what he wants to do, and you can count on that. And when this issue came up, I figured, well, we need a couple of Democrats to vote with us. And Chap spoke up, and then we had Linwood Lewis, and we had a bad bill in. And all the sheriffs were calling all the senators. And the bill probably, although you can't ever depend on it, it probably would have gotten killed in the House on removing sovereign immunity from jail doctors. That's where it ended up. And we're listening to the debate, and we're afraid of this bill because we knew what we would have to do with qualified immunity before, and this is a little bit similar. And when I heard Chap say, this is a pretty important issue, we need to take our time and look at this, I'm thinking, we got a chance to kill this in the Senate. And with one other vote, we were able to do it, and thanks for Chap. And I never called him. I never said, hey, we need it. I think the sheriffs may have. Your sheriff probably did work him over pretty good. But I don't know if it matters. I mean, Chap's going to do what he wants to do, and fortunately, that's a high quality in this business, and we appreciate that. So Sheriff Stacy Kincaid was very supportive of us presenting this award to her senator. She had a death in her family very recently and couldn't be here, so we have Lieutenant Colonel J.J. Snyder, and I'd like to ask Lieutenant Colonel to say a word or two.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Sheriff Kincaid and the men and women of the Fairfax County Sheriff's Office, it's my pleasure to be here today. Senator Chap Petersen is a great friend of the association. He is known as the People's Senator, and he is always there for us, regardless what the issue is. He cares about public safety, but most importantly, he understands the job that we do day in and day out, and he doesn't shy away from that or any tough decisions. He has been there on many occasions as we rely on his support for good things that come out of Richmond, as well as the bad things that come out of Richmond. And Mr. Jones stole some of my thunder in reference to the quality immunity. I was in that room when my sheriff called Senator Petersen, and it was he had our back the entire way. So I can't thank him enough for that. He's one of the the senators that we call when we need something. So I am very proud to stand here next to you when you receive this award, sir. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yep, awesome. Thank
So on behalf of the Virginia Sheriff's Association, we appreciate everything that you do for the sheriffs and deputies across the Commonwealth. And we'd like to present you with this plaque that says, presented to Senator Chap Petersen in recognition of outstanding legislative service for the improvement of law enforcement and criminal justice in Virginia. Virginia Sheriff's Association 2023.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll get your box there for you.
All right. Here you go, Chap. Awesome. All right. Thank you. All right. You want to say it? Yeah, please do.
Okay.
We'd appreciate that.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's very humbling and awesome to be here. And I have to say there's 3 women in my life that I respond to as soon as they call. 1 is my mother, 2 is my wife Sharon, who's right here, and the 3rd is the sheriff of Fairfax County. Pretty much, if she calls, I'm there, and I'm sorry she couldn't be here today. I know her father passed a few days ago, and she was very close to her father, and we've talked about that, and I know it's a really tough event in your life. Even when you expect it, you never really expect it. And so she can't be here, but I will say recruiting Stacy Kincaid to run for sheriff, and I didn't recruit her, she came to me, but I was proud to be the first Fairfax County representative to endorse her. Was probably second best decision. Asking Sharon to marry me was the first best decision, but it was a great decision, and she's done a wonderful, wonderful job, and she's got a great team, and thank you, JJ, for being here. I know it's tough, having to come down to the homestead and spend the night and, have to go to the bar and have drinks. It's sort of hardship duty, but I appreciate you all doing it. I want to make a chance to make a few points. In case you've been sleeping under a rock, I'm in a primary up in Northern Virginia, and I've got people coming after me, and that's fine. That's how democracy works. And I'm in a new district. I got to go out and meet people, and I've got to earn it. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about why I endorse you, and hopefully you all will endorse me. First of all, let me talk about constitutional officers. Most voters in Virginia don't know what a constitutional officer is per se, but they know that people at the local level make the government work. And constitutional officers are the backbone of local government in Virginia. Between the sheriff, the Commonwealth's attorney, the clerk, the treasurer, the commissioner of the revenue, they're the folks that assess property, collect taxes, enforce the laws, and basically make sure that everyone is treated fairly. Everyone is treated equally when they come before that local official. And that's critical, and that leads to the second point, which that sheriffs are the face of law enforcement. Now, listen, I've got a lot of friends that are in the uniformed police and campus police, George Mason University is near my district. But sheriffs are different, and the reason is you all have to go in front of the voters. Hello, just like me. I got to go in front of the voters, which means you got to earn it. You can't take it. You can't afford to be rude to somebody. You can't afford to abuse your power. You can't afford to look the other way or cut corners, because you know what? When you go back in front of those voters, you have to show them that you put the public's interest first. Not your personal interest, the public interest. And again, I'm not drawing any negative comparison with another branch, but you have to go and earn it. And that what makes you a little bit different. And then let me make the final point, and this is going to sound like an obvious point, but maybe it's not obvious, in that I look around America now, and things sometimes get turned upside down. And by the way, there's a lot of things, and Todd and I are going to disagree. I'm a Democrat. We're not going to agree on all bills. But let me tell you something. Law enforcement is an honorable career. I mean, without law enforcement, without people to enforce the laws, none of this makes sense. Democracy doesn't make sense. Our free enterprise system doesn't make sense. Our system of education doesn't make sense. We have to have people that have the courage to step up and enforce the laws. And by the way, yeah, I do criminal defense sometimes. And you get on the witness stand, I'm going to cross-examine the hell out of you, okay? So you better prepare. But don't for a moment think I don't respect you, what you do, your family. And I know you put your life on the line. And I know that you protect my 4 children and my family and everything that we've struggled to build. So I'm very, very appreciative. So let me just conclude by saying thank you for supporting me. I endorse you. And I don't know if it helps or hurts me in my primary, and frankly, I don't care. Because to me, public service is all about representing people, and I'm proud to represent you. And God willing, I'll be back in the General Assembly next year, because I think actually folks in my area, they are proud of law enforcement, and that's really why they're going to send me back. So God bless you, and I'll see you next year. Thanks. Thank you, John.